I did the voice system in the early 2000s. And
so with the voice system, are you talking about that is the Siri thing?
Yeah,
No.
it was a standalone voice system that was then licensed by multiple places. So shall I tell you about getting that job?
Yeah, I'm desperate to hear all about that one because
Okay.
everyone can relate. I'm sure they've all heard your voice.
So I had a client reach out and they said, we are looking for a native Australian female voiceover artist living in the northeast of the United States. I saw that brief. I'm like, this is a description of me. This job is mine.
Yep.
I went to the audition. I got the job.
Yes.
And they said, we need you to record for 50 hours to capture everything for this voice system. We need to take you up to a town called Ithaca, New York, in upstate New York. We'll put you in a hotel for 3 weeks. We will record for no more than 4 hours a day, so your voice does not sound fatigued in any way. And then we're going to capture every combination of syllables possible and chop it up and create a voice system based on your speaking voice.
Wow, did that just blow your mind at the time? Because even now, when I get the voiceover, I use it mainly for Google Maps. I'm not such a big Siri person, but I'm like, how do they get every single word, every single everything? So you literally phonetically do all the syllable combinations and everything. And do they patch it together from there?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly
amazing.
right. Not many interviewers get it like you do, Jules. You totally got it. That's exactly what they did.
But that astounds me, except that I have the English voice on my Google Maps and she always pronounces things wrong compared to the Australian. But I had no idea. I always thought that you would just go Cole, High Street, Whale Street, whatever, and you just have to list a million names. But the phonetic combinations is incredibly clever.
It really is. I still think how genius those engineers were to create that technology.
Well, it must have just changed everything, especially now we're moving into voice because, again, we all think people are sitting recording these things. I didn't realise that once you've done your 50 hours, your voice can be made to say whatever they want.
That's right, and licensed to many companies to do so.
And do you get royalties for that, can I ask? Or are you just paid to do the job?
You can ask. And my answer would be, if I did, we would be sitting together on my private island right now doing this interview, darling.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe you would fly me up on your personal jet.
I would love to be doing that.
Okay, so you did that job, and at the time, did you realise the impact it was going to have?
No clue.
Because you just thought you were doing a little job, not to know that 7 billion people around the world probably have access to your voice now.
It was unthinkable. It's still kind of unfathomable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That has blown me away. Okay, so you did that. What was next? How did you get into the keynote speaking and some of the other things? And then you got to talk to me about what the GPS girl does.
I will. So I went back to my singer-songwriter career life in New York City and continued doing a lot of the performing and recording we were talking about before and songwriting with amazing writers. And that continued and continued. And it was a while later, my voice popped up in the first system. It popped up in Telstra's Talking Text, if you may remember that, back in the early 2000s. And then it wasn't until about 2007 when my voice started to appear in...
Because that was the year that the first iPhone came out, wasn't it, 2007?
That's right. Yeah, It was actually, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So a little bit before that, I came out to Australia for Christmas with my family and I got a message on my phone from my friend Nadia and she called me and she said, Karen, I bought my husband one of those new GPS thingos for Christmas and we're driving right now from Maine back to New York City after the holidays and we're listening to it and my husband said, why don't you put it onto the Australian voice? So we did. We put it onto the Australian voice. And oh my God, Karen, it's your voice in the GPS. And I turned to my husband and I said, oh my God, I gave you Karen Jacobsen for Christmas. And that is how I found out that my speaking voice
amazing.
was in all of the what has now ended up to be 1 billion devices.
Right. So because you had done the deal with the whatever it was company that had created that software, they just can then on-sell it because they've paid you and it's theirs. So they didn't say to you, guess what, it's going to be put in the sat-nav and in the iPhone and things like that. How great. I kind of like that. That's just a lovely surprise.
Well, there have been quite a few of those lovely surprises. I mean, I get into the car park elevator at Brisbane Airport and with my dad one day, and he's like, oh, that's your voice in the elevator. And then, I mean, it just... cruise ships and software applications and elevators and, it's endless.
That is amazing. So now people, I guess, want you to record all their sorry, I'm being really silly here. I was just thinking I might get you to do it for me. But the messages on their answer phones. Hi, I am the voice you hear everywhere.
I'm actually hired to do a lot of voiceover work. The latest is being hired to do intros and outros for podcasts. And
of course.
For in-office or in-home voice systems for telephones, audio books. I mean, it's fabulous. It's truly fabulous. And then there are TV and radio and cinema and online commercial campaigns. So it's really...
Oh, your career just sounds like a dream, or my dream anyway. I just love the sound of all of this.
Oh, it is. It's really been pretty amazing. But what tipped it is into becoming something more than just another voiceover job was when people found out my voice was the voice directing them. They would get very, very excited when they would meet me, and they would want to share with me all of their GPS stories and the wonderful trips that we had taken together.
Of course, you have.
Even though I wasn't really there. And I